Welcome to Value Theory, the channel where we stop guessing and start running the numbers. Everyone talks about cents per point. Hyatt is supposedly the king of value. Hilton earns points like crazy. Marriott has the largest hotel footprint in the world. But none of those actually answer the question I wanted to know. Which hotel program creates the most vacations? Not the highest cents per point, not the most points earned, the most vacations. So I analyzed Hyatt, Hilton, and Marriott across 6 destinations, 4 domestic and 2 international, using weekends and 5-night stays across 3 traveler profiles, singles, couples, and families of 4. I also used real-world spending assumptions and completed this analysis after Hyatt's recent devaluation. Interestingly, the devaluation wasn't nearly as severe as many people expected, and for the hotels I tested, the results didn't change dramatically. So let's find out which hotel program actually gets you on more vacations. Before we get into the numbers, I wanted to test something a little different. Most hotel comparisons focus almost entirely on cents per point, and while that metric absolutely matters, it doesn't tell the whole story. Sure, you might find an incredible redemption in the Maldives and get amazing value per point, but realistically, how many people are booking those trips every year? Instead, I wanted to answer a different question. Which hotel program gets you on the most vacations? This idea was inspired by a video from Travel Point's family, where he was comparing Hilton and Hyatt vacations for his family. That made me curious. Is it better to have points that are worth more, or is it better to earn points faster? Let's find out. The rules I followed were pretty straightforward. I selected 6 destinations: New York City, Miami, Los Angeles, Orlando, Barcelona, and Tokyo. For Orlando, I specifically selected hotels that offered transportation to Disney and Universal, since that's a major reason many people visit. I focused on mid-range to upper mid-scale hotels. I didn't choose luxury properties like Ritz-Carlton or Conrad hotels, but I also didn't choose the cheapest possible options. The goal was to compare hotels that most people would realistically book for a major vacation. Across all 3 traveler profiles, I included real-world spending categories such as housing, dining, groceries, travel, entertainment, and general spending. This gave us a realistic foundation for the analysis. As I started digging into the numbers, a few things became obvious very quickly. First, Hyatt consistently provides the best value for shorter trips and weekend getaways. So if that's your primary goal, Hyatt is already a strong contender. Second, Hyatt still maintained the highest cents per point value. That really didn't change. Third, Hilton consistently earned the most points, and that's where this analysis became interesting. Is it better to have points worth more, or to earn significantly more points? Finally, Marriott never actually won a category. That doesn't mean Marriott is bad. It was simply average across nearly every scenario I tested. One important note on Marriott. While Marriott didn't win this analysis, it shines for travelers who prioritize luxury. In my opinion, Marriott has one of the strongest luxury portfolios in the industry with brands like Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, and Edition. So if luxury is your priority, Marriott can absolutely still be the right choice. To keep the comparison fair, I used specific card setups for each ecosystem. For Hyatt, I used Bilt Palladium and the Chase Sapphire Preferred. For Hilton, I used the Amex Gold and Hilton Surpass. For Marriott, I used the Amex Gold and Marriott Boundless. For housing spend, using Bilt 2.0 system earning assumption of approximately 0.75 points per dollar. For online retail purchases, I used a 2.5 times average earning rate through Rakuten, and for travel purchases, I assumed everything was booked through the Chase and Amex travel portals, since that maximized point earnings. A full PDF with all assumptions and calculations will be linked in the description. One note is that the points in the PDF have to reflect Amex and Bilt points earned from Rakuten, but separated from the category multiplier. Also, in the description will be a referral link to Rakuten, where once you spend $50, you will receive $50. To provide a realistic comparison, I used average annual spending assumptions for 3 traveler profiles. For singles, annual spending was $43,450. For couples, annual spending was $72,600. For families of 4, annual spending was $101,250. Across every profile, housing was the largest spending category. Again, your spending may differ, but these assumptions gave us a realistic baseline to compare each program. As the analysis progressed, Marriott became less relevant because it consistently landed in the middle. That shifted the comparison primarily toward Hyatt versus Hilton. Hyatt continued to offer higher point values, generally ranging from 1.5 to 2.5 cents per point across the hotels I selected. Hilton, however, consistently earned more points. And that's where things became interesting. When you move from weekend trips to 5-night vacations, Hilton's 5th night free benefit starts to make a significant difference. This analysis was completed after Hyatt's recent devaluation, so these numbers should be representative of what travelers would see today. I also did not assign any monetary value to status benefits. That includes Hilton dining credits, Hilton upgrades, Hyatt Globalist benefits, and Marriott Elite perks. Those benefits absolutely have value, but I wanted this comparison focused solely on points earned versus points redeemed. For the hotels compared, I tried to keep them in similar locations and similar quality levels across all 3 brands. In New York City, I focused on hotels around Times Square. For Orlando, I selected properties around Disney Springs that also offered transportation to Disney and Universal. In Miami, I focused on South Beach. In Los Angeles, I looked at the Santa Monica and Venice Beach area. For Barcelona and Tokyo, I focused on hotels that were relatively central and convenient for exploring the city. The goal wasn't to find the absolute cheapest hotel or the most luxurious property available. Instead, I wanted to compare realistic vacation redemptions using hotels that most travelers would actually consider booking. One thing I did adjust during this analysis was the Barcelona Hilton property. Initially, I had selected a redemption that required significantly more points than the rest of the study. After reviewing the options, I updated it to the Grand Hotel Central and SLH Hotel, which I felt was a more realistic comparison and better reflected what most travelers would actually consider booking. Now let's look at the actual cost of a 5-night vacation. I used June 2026 as the baseline time frame to keep the comparison consistent. In New York City, Hyatt required about 150,000 points while Hilton required about 380,000. Miami was one of Hyatt's strongest values at only 75,000 points, while Hilton required roughly 400,000. Los Angeles came in at 125,000 points for Hyatt and 340,000 for Hilton. Orlando was 100,000 for Hyatt and 260,000 for Hilton. Barcelona required 125,000 Hyatt points and 360,000 Hilton points. Tokyo came in at 150,000 Hyatt points and 340,000 Hilton points. On average, Hyatt vacations required about 121,000 points. Hilton averaged about 347,000 points. So while Hyatt clearly requires fewer points, Hilton earns points significantly faster. And remember, Hilton's 5th night free benefit has already been included in these totals. Amex points transfer to Hilton at a 2-to-1 ratio, meaning 1 Amex point is worth 2 Hilton points. At this point, the winner still isn't obvious. Now let's look at the results for the single traveler. With annual spending of $43,450, Hyatt covered an average of 66% of a 5-night vacation. Hilton averaged about 38%. In every destination, Hyatt came out ahead. Miami was particularly impressive, where Hyatt covered an entire vacation from 1 year of spending. The recent Hyatt devaluation had very little impact on the overall outcome. While Hilton earned more points, Hyatt's points stretched significantly further. For the single traveler, Hyatt is the clear winner. Now let's look at the couple traveler results. With a combined annual spend of $72,600, we start seeing something really interesting. Hyatt now covers an average of 111% of a vacation, meaning that on average a couple is earning enough points to fully cover a 5-night trip every year. Hilton improves as well, averaging 61% coverage, but still trails significantly behind. Hyatt fully funds 4 of the 6 destinations we tested. Even the 2 lowest destinations, New York City and Tokyo, still come in at 84% coverage. Hilton's best performance was Orlando at 78%. So for couples, Hyatt remains the clear winner, delivering substantially more vacation value from the same spending. When we look at the family of 4 results, things get even more interesting. With annual spending of $101,250, Hyatt now covers 100% or more of every destination we tested. In Miami, Hyatt reaches 257% coverage, meaning you could theoretically fund more than 2 trips from a single year of spending. Hilton improves dramatically as well. It averages 98% coverage and reaches full vacation coverage in destinations like Orlando and Barcelona. That's important because many families focus on taking one major vacation each year. At this spending level, both programs are now capable of funding meaningful trips. However, when it comes to generating the most vacation value, Hyatt still comes out on top. For families of 4, Hyatt remains the winner. So, what's the verdict? Based on this analysis, Hyatt generated more vacation value across every traveler profile that I tested. Singles, couples, families of 4, Hyatt won every category. But that doesn't automatically mean Hyatt is the best choice for everyone. If you're someone who values the highest redemption value, regularly redeems points, and utilizes Bilt, Hyatt is incredibly difficult to beat. In fact, One of the most surprising findings from this analysis was just how important Bilt was. When I removed Bilt from the equation and replaced it with a more traditional setup, Hilton became dramatically more competitive and even started winning in several scenarios. On the other hand, Hilton may be the better choice if you value simplicity, faster point accumulation, or the fifth night free benefit. There is something psychologically rewarding about earning hundreds of thousands of points much faster. And, for families especially, Hilton's performance was much stronger than I originally expected. There are also several things that this analysis does not measure. I didn't assign any value to Hilton Gold or Diamond benefits, Hyatt Globalist benefits, Marriott Elite status, complimentary breakfast or dining credits, room upgrades, customer service, brand loyalty, or personal hotel preferences. Those benefits can absolutely be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how you travel. And that's really what value theory is all about. My goal isn't to tell you what card to use or what hotel program to join. My goal is to analyze the numbers and provide a framework that helps you make better decisions based on your own travel goals. Some people want luxury. Some people want the most trips possible. Some people want simplicity. Some people want elite status. There isn't one perfect answer. But hopefully this analysis helps you understand the trade-offs and decide which program gives you the vacations that you actually want. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, which hotel program are you currently earning points with? Why do you like it? And would you like to see me run this same analysis for IHG next? With Hyatt's recent devaluation, IHG has become a much bigger conversation, and I'd love to see how it compares. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.